You're live at noon Pacific, 1 Mountain, 3 o'clock Eastern, and 8 hours ahead somewhere in Europe. Okay. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Walking the Path. It's so good to have you all. Hey, brother Jeff, my brother. Oh, it's going to be a good Facebook Live, Instagram Live, because my brother Jeff is here. Thank you all so much for joining. Thank you all. It's going to be great because you all are here. I'm so grateful and so thankful. I'm so grateful and so thankful for this day. Oh, it's so beautiful here in Costa Rica right now. It's the rainy season, and we haven't had much rain. It hasn't been a very rainy season. And now, man, it has been pretty much raining nonstop for 2 days. Little breaks here and there, but lots of rain, and the rivers are running, and it's like a real rainy season again. We needed it. We needed all the water. This area of Costa Rica where we're at, where Rythmia is, in Pinilla. There's a little town called San Jose de Pinilla, or San Juan de Pinilla, excuse me. And that's the area that we're in. And we're in one of the world's only dry jungles. I think the other one is in Australia, a dry jungle, which means that we have this like very jungle-like environment, but we have a dry season and a wet season. The rest of Costa Rica gets rain pretty consistently, and then during the rainy season, it just gets more rain. But we have a dry season where we get no rain, and then we have a period of a lot of rain. And so we're in that period now, and it's like I'm wearing pants for the first time in months. I'm wearing pants and shoes. It's like cool. I get to put shoes on. Wow, because it is pretty cool wearing flip flops all the time. So here we are. Diego, aho, brother, and Gina, welcome everybody. Welcome. I'm so grateful you're here. I want to share with you today's topic. Today's topic is integration. I got to do ceremony last Thursday, a week ago. And I did a Facebook Live just before. Hey, Deborah, such a blessing to have you here. And I got to do a Facebook Live, Instagram Live, a live, whatever, YouTube Live, the live. I got to do the live before ceremony. And I was talking about my intention to forgive the unforgivable and to see the innocence in myself and others, to forgive myself and forgive others, and to see the innocence in myself and to see the innocence in others. And it was an amazing ceremony. Taita Juanito is an amazing healer. And, it's the consciousness that with ayahuasca, the shaman, and shaman's a term, the ayahuasquero, the taita, the person who is the guardian and keeper of the medicine. Shaman's kind of a fraught term. Historically and etymologically, shaman comes from Siberia. And it's a term that the Tsarist Russian government used to describe the healers of the steppe plateau as they were doing their sorts of plant medicines, and they would start to act crazy. And so they just called these people crazy. Shaman actually means like crazy. and that's the etymological history of the word. So we use it as a linguistic convenience to say the person who's leading the ceremony, the person who's guarding the medicine, the person who's serving you this medicine, the person who's holding a high consciousness, a healer. So I use the word a little differently, but we'll say taita, which means chief, in his Colombian tradition, holds a great consciousness. And that is, with other plant medicines like iboga, the shaman works one-on-one with you. Whereas with ayahuasca, the keeper of the medicine, the ayahuasquero, is holding a consciousness for you to have an individual connection with the medicine. And his talk afterwards was really beautiful. He talked about the fact that, which is very consistent, what he talked about was very consistent with metaphysical teaching and with what I know to be true from my teacher, Reverend Michael Bernard Beckwith, and the New Thought teachings that have ancient wisdom connected to them, which is that we all take part of one source. So Taita Juanito, in his culture and his tradition, he was talking about, the trees have a spirit, and the rocks have a spirit, and the water has a spirit, and the stars have a spirit, and all of those spirits take part of the same spirit. It's the spirit realm. And we are in constant communication with the spirit realm, whether we agree, whether we know that or not, whether we're conscious of it or not, we're constantly in communication with the spirit realm. And, and we're sending up information, our feelings, our thoughts, our projections are being sent up to the spirit realm and can come back down. And sometimes they kind of land with a thud, depending on what we're sending back up. It's coming back down. We're in this constant reciprocal communication, which reminds me very much of what science is telling us around the toric fields, right? That there's this energetic electromagnetic field in which all energy is circulating around us at all times. And this is how form takes place, and form becomes energy and energy becomes form, which is also the proof of Einstein's beautiful theory of special theory of relativity, is that energy and matter are really the same thing, that energy slowed down becomes matter, and matter sped up becomes energy. And so the toric field is a great representation of the very thing that Taita Juanito was talking about. Diego says it also means father. Aho, brother. Thank you very much indeed. That we're constantly expressing part of ourselves out into the field of consciousness, which is the spirit realm. And it's returned to us. So what are we expressing? What are we expressing out, and what are we receiving? And one of the things that he said about the medicine, and I would agree with this, that it's not just the medicine, but as in medicine, as in life, the medicine doesn't create anything. The medicine only reflects back to us what's inside of us. Life creates, but the electromagnetic field doesn't really create anything. It just reflects back to us what we're putting out. The universe reflects back to us what we're putting out. It's a mirror. And so, as we go into ceremony, as we go into life, as something is difficult coming back to us, we don't ask to be removed from that difficulty. We ask, what is being called forth in me? One beautiful healer from Ghana, I mentioned him frequently, Brother Ishmael Teta. He said, when you're in the storm, you don't ask God to take you out of the storm. You ask life, what is being asked of me now? Because I've created this. I've sent this energy up and out into the field, and it's being returned to me. What is now being asked of me? What is seeking to grow in me? What is seeking to emerge? What is seeking to expand within me? Because what's coming back to me is a reflection of what I've been expressing, what's been in my heart, and what's been in my soul, and what's been in my mind. So that's one of the things that was so profound about his talk, a recollection and a remembering that of the similarities between all these beautiful philosophies. Now, thank you. Lynn says, spot on. Thank you. Thank you, Diego. Thank you so much, you guys. It was such a beautiful ceremony. And then the other thing that he talked about, which was so profound, was that because what's being reflected back to us is a call to action, really, that we get to turn the page on what's happening in our lives. We get to say, from this now moment, what's being called forth? What am I cultivating? And this is what I really want to talk about today, is integration. This idea of integration. All you folks over there on Instagram, it's far away and I can't see what you're saying, but I love you. The screen's a little far away and I can't see what you're saying, but thank you for your comments. So let me talk specifically about my experience in integration and the insights that I had post-ceremony. Well, let me tell you a little about ceremony. So I was in ceremony, and one of the things that I'm really seeing in the medicine, this came to me a few years ago, was to open up to the medicine. For a long time, when I would drink medicine and I'd start to feel the medicine coming on, I'd be like, oh boy, here it comes. Oh, I don't know what's going on. And I'd get scared, a little freaked out, like not knowing I'm going into the unknown. Oh shit. And over the last few years, it really became clear that when I feel the medicine coming on, I open my body up and I say, welcome, welcome, mother. whatever the medicine is, welcome Father, welcome Mother, I feel you in me, and I know this is good. Even if it feels uncomfortable, I know it's good. And this changes because the medicine doesn't create anything. It simply reflects back to me um, uh, my experience. So if I'm holding on like, oh shit, here it comes, well, then that's what's going to be reflected back to me. If I'm opening up like, oh boy, I feel you, and whatever's happening, I know is good. I know it's for me. That's a form of surrender. That's a form of accepting whatever comes, and it eases the process so much. So as I felt the medicine come on, I began to open up, and I'm opening, and I'm seeing Pinta, and here's a funny thing. At Rythmia, everybody gets a cup, a shot glass. And of course, that comes in their bag when they come to the resort. And I didn't have a cup, so I go up to get my medicine, and Taitawani just says, "Do you have a cup?" And I was like, "No." He goes, "Don't worry, I have one." And I was like, "Oh shit!" He grabs this like cup, and it was like a 4 gulper. It was like gulp, 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 gulp. It's like, oh man. So I start to feel the medicine come on, and I'm really in it. I'm getting really feeling the medicine. I'm drunk in the medicine, and the experience is good. And yet I'm feeling like I need to purge. I don't know which way I'm going to purge, but I feel like it's coming on. And I'd get up to go to the bathroom and nothing. And I'd get up to the bucket and nothing. And okay. And then it's time for the second cup. So I go up to get the second cup, and they say, have you seen I had any visions? Yes, I'm having visions, but I feel like something's stuck. He goes, okay. So he gives me another cup, and I drink that. And I'm down on my mattress, and I'm like, oh, I think I need to go to the bathroom. So I get up to go to the bathroom, and I can't get up. So which is a great thing about being at Rythmia. I go, I need some help going to the bathroom. And a beautiful brother comes to help me. And we're waddling towards the bathroom. He's holding me, and I'm waddling. And we get to the bathroom, and they're both full. They're both being used. And he goes, they're both full. We could go to the outside, to the bathrooms out by the fire. And I said, okay. So we start waddling to the door. There's a sliding glass door, and we start waddling to the door. And as we get closer to the door, I feel this fear. And I say, I'm afraid to go outside. I just said it. I'm afraid to go outside. And he goes, okay. And he keeps walking towards the door. And the minute I had my bucket with me, because I didn't know what was going to happen, and the minute I put my foot over the threshold, I start purging, and I drop to my knees, and I'm purging, and I'm halfway in and halfway out. Okay. Now, to me, that was a huge metaphor, right? Like this shamanic portal of initiation, right? You're stepping through the threshold from one place to another, and something is different on the other side. And you can't take something with you to move through this threat. You have to leave something behind. You have to let go of something. You have to release something. What must I release in order to move into the next threshold and to pass through this portal into the next greatest iteration of my life? So it was like this huge metaphor, like, oh boy, I dropped to my knees. I'm halfway in and I'm halfway out, and I'm purging and I'm crawling. And with each crawl, there's another purge, and it's a big purge and another purge until I'm fully out, and I'm purging. And oh, my beautiful brother Ronnie was there with the feather and helping me to move that energy. And then, it was so beautiful, right? It's like, when do you think that vomiting is beautiful, right? It's like, oh my God, thank you. This release, I could just feel this stuff. It's like stuff kind of like crawls out of my mouth, and it's all the compressed thought forms: worry, doubt, fear, lack, limitation, not enoughness, limiting thoughts, limiting beliefs that are congealed within me, that get to physically be purged, because our thoughts become things within us, right? So now it's beautiful, right? And I go back to my mattress, and I'm really drunk in the medicine. And now that I've cleaned out, now that I've done some house cleaning, people just start flooding into my consciousness. People from all different, unexpected faces start flooding into my awareness, and I'm seeing the innocence in everybody and myself, and forgiving and blessing and praying, and it was beautiful. The ceremony was beautiful. And I thought, well, there wasn't this like aha moment of I forgave that, you know. But I had this lightness about me. And then, you know, you see the sunrise, which is beautiful. And there was a beautiful closing talk. And then for the first time in 6 years of working here at Rythmia, for the first time, I took the whole day off after ceremony. Before I would have a meeting or teach a class or have a client, you know, work with a client. And this time I made sure my whole schedule was off. And I went to the beach with my dog, and I swam in the ocean, and I laid under the trees, and I read, and I went home, and I laid in my hammock, and I took a shower, and I took a nap, and then I got up and I ate, and then I went back to bed. And it was just beautiful. It was beautiful to have the whole day off. And then the next day I had a full day. I taught the closing group in the morning, and then I had private clients in the afternoon. And then I helped my dear friend, Kim Terranova. She was leading a retreat, an online retreat. And I got the great privilege of helping to support her during that retreat, which was beautiful. And during that time, she showed a video. And in the video, some of the people that I was working with forgiveness on showed up in the video. And there was a little bit of a charge there. There was still a little bit of a charge in seeing those people. Those were the people that I wanted to forgive myself and to forgive them, to see the innocence in me and to see the innocence in them. And I thought, there was a split second where I thought, oh, that didn't get healed. And then I really got clear. I have a choice right here and right now to turn the page. Do I double down on the story of unforgiveness, or do I turn the page and affirm that there's forgiveness, affirm their innocence, affirm that there was never an error, affirm that there's nothing that can hurt, harm, or endanger me, that I'm not my body, that I'm not my thoughts, that I'm not my mind, that I'm not this experience, that I'm more than that. And I realized in that moment that the healing of the ceremony continues. This is what we call integration. And integration leads to embodiment. And what we think in the ceremony is it's healed and then it's embodied. But there's this period of integration that leads to embodiment. Embodiment is that thing is done. Like I'm fully embodied, seeing the innocence. The ceremony helped clear out a lot of stuff. And I think of it like pulling weeds out of the garden. Right? The garden of my consciousness. And I start pulling these weeds. The medicine helped me pull the weeds up. They're uprooted. And now they're laying on the ground. And as I'm walking through my consciousness and have an experience, I see that weed. And it's not that weed didn't get uprooted, but now I have a choice. Do I replant that by doubling down on the story, or do I pick that weed up and put it in the compost? What are you going to do? That's integration, and it happens over and over and over and over again. This is our process. The healing, 50% of the work is in the ceremony, 50% of the work is the integration after, until you reach embodiment. I'm taking a class at Agape right now on a Semitic Aramaic interpretation of the Bible. And so we're learning some Aramaic words. And one of the words, shavakin, is forgiveness in Aramaic. And it literally means to uncouple, to unhook, to unburden. So forgiveness is unhooking ourselves from the story, unburdening ourselves from the story, from our attachment to it. We're from the situation and the circumstance. We're moving to a higher ground. We have to move through a passageway. And we can't take that story with us to the other side. We have to take, and man, I want to see what you guys are saying over here. Okay, sorry. So I missed you. Whoever was saying, there was a beautiful writing up there on Instagram. I wanted to see what you were saying. I missed it. But this is it, man. We have to uncouple ourselves. We have to unhook ourselves from the story, and then we're going to keep running up against it. And just because you run up against it doesn't mean that you didn't forgive. It's another opportunity to pick that weed up and put it in the compost. And we do that over and over again until we embody it. So embodiment is mastery. And on the process of mastery, as you master something, there's 4 steps to mastery. The first step is what we call unconscious incompetent. The second step is conscious incompetent. The third step is conscious competent, and the fourth step is unconscious competent. So let's talk about that. Let's use tying your shoes as an example. So before you knew anything about tying your shoes, before you even knew there were shoes to tie, you were unconscious of that, and you didn't even know that there were shoes to tie. You didn't even know there was this thing called tying your shoes. You didn't even know there were shoes. You were unconscious and you were incompetent at tying your shoes. Then at some point you realized, I got to put these shoes on, and they got to be tied, and I can't do it. And so you would ask your parents or your brother or sister or your caretaker to tie those shoes. You were conscious of it, but you were incompetent at it. And then there got a point where you could tie your shoes, but you had to be really, really on it. You had to okay, put the bunny ears in, and this bunny ear goes around the thing and goes in that way. And if you concentrated, you were competent at it, right? And then it got to a point where you were unconscious about tying your shoes. You just tied them. You mastered it. Those are the 4 levels of mastery. So in ceremony, the same thing, integration to embodiment. Embodiment is mastery. Integration is that in-between step from conscious incompetent to conscious competent. So that's the growing edge right there. That's the ouch part, where it's like, oh, you keep running up against it. I have to be really conscious of this forgiveness thing. I'm mastering forgiveness. And when I come up against it, I have to be really conscious. Oh, there it is again. Now, let me forgive. There it is again. Let me choose to see the innocence. There it is again. There it is again. And this is our process of embodiment. And each time we choose higher, each time we choose to not reroot that weed and to get it out and put it into the compost, we're stepping closer to mastery. So we have to forgive ourselves. We have to be gentle with ourselves and realize that we're in a process of mastering something, and nobody mastered something overnight. And you certainly didn't I certainly didn't master the art of and technology of forgiveness and seeing the innocence in everyone in one ceremony. That ceremony helped me clean out the channel. Now, what am I going to put back in? So I've been very conscious this last period of really doing the important things to support integration. The first thing is, on a physical level, I'm not drinking. I'm not going back. I'm not using anything other than just being with this medicine. In other words, I like to have a glass of wine with dinner on Friday night if I go out or something like that, but I haven't. Last night I went to a birthday party, and there was an opportunity to have a margarita with the birthday boy, and I chose not to do that because I'm still in this integration process. I'm also keeping sure that I'm not putting back in sugar and staying with whole foods, like really keeping this system clean, right? Not eating processed foods, not eating a lot of I don't eat a lot of processed foods anyway, but really keeping the channel clean on a physical level. Somatic embodiment, somatic integration also requires movement. Saunas, cold plunge, cardio, going for walks, doing my morning satnas, doing my Kundalini yoga, moving my body, working out, dancing. It also requires being in community. So I'm surrounding myself with beautiful people and connecting online and in person, maintaining, reading more, just really keeping this energy going, because the medicine is still in me. For 21 days after, the medicine's still really in you. You can still have deep insights, purges. You can, and every time you come up against something, it's another opportunity, another chance. to turn the page, to continue the healing, to gain mastery over your intention. Lynn Anderson asked, was that an ayahuasca retreat? Yes, Lynn. Rythmia is an ayahuasca retreat center in Costa Rica, and that's where I get to work. So thank you for asking that. Diego says he's still no alcohol after Rythmia for 2 years. That's beautiful, Diego. Man, you're just doing so great, brother. I love seeing all the good things that you're doing and you're involved in, man. So, okay. So the thing that I wanted to really bring forth is integration to embodiment is a process of mastery. And when you go to ceremony, and this is even if it's not a plant medicine ceremony, you have an insight in meditation. You catch an aha moment. You have a eureka moment. You have a realization, a download, a change in perception. Something happens, and then you're like, but I had that change in perception, and now that thing, that feeling, that emotion, that I got triggered again, I got caught in something again. It's okay. You're mastering something. And we must choose again and again, choose over and over again, choose there's a biblical saying, choose ye now who you serve today, God or mammon. Do I choose spirit or worry, spirit or doubt, spirit or unforgiveness, spirit or lack, spirit or limitation? What am I choosing? Because if I'm healing lack or limitation or illness or limiting thoughts or beliefs, I get to choose every moment. Choose ye now this day. And the integration of it is the moment by moment, breath by breath choosing. And to do that, we've got to keep our channel clean. We've got to do our physical and somatic practices. We have to surround ourselves with good teachings, good readings, not putting a bunch of stuff in my head from the internet. But I'm reading, I'm connecting with people, I'm taking classes, right? This is the work of integration, and it all matters. So many people do a plant medicine ceremony and then go back to living the same life that they lived and go, it didn't work. 50% is in the ceremony. The rest of it is integration, and there'll be a period of integration until you embodiment. And embodiment is the completion of the ceremony. All right. I think that's what I have for today. I'm so grateful and so thankful to get to share this with you. Thank you. Wow. Instagram was blowing up over there. And this time I put the phone, I can't do the Instagram through the platform that we use at Rythmia for Facebook and YouTube. So I have to have a phone for Instagram and Facebook and YouTube on a Restream platform. And so the Instagram camera is away and I couldn't see your comments. So I'm going to go back and look at them after we close. But I want to thank you all. Petra, great to see you. Danny Parizic. Hi, brother. Wow. Anna, thank you so much. Thank you, everybody. So great to be with you. So great to see you. And thank you so much for tuning in. Blessings today. Let's just close with a prayer. Let's close with just a deep realization of gratitude for this moment, that this is what we get to do. I'm so grateful that you chose this day to check in and watch a little something and that you're choosing. Obviously, if you're choosing this, you're choosing to expand. You're choosing the areas in your life that are seeking expansion. You're choosing the areas in your life that are seeking to grow. You're choosing the areas in your life that you want to fertilize and blossom so that they bloom forth. So I want to be thankful. I just want you to know how grateful I am for your yes, how grateful I am for you choosing this day, Spirit. I'm so grateful to recognize the Spirit, that one source, that one power that's, yes, it's in the trees. Yes, it's in the water. Yes, it's in the rain. Yes, it's in the mountains. Yes, it's in you and me. And it's so much more than that. It's outside of all of that. It's greater than all of that. I recognize that presence is the presence of God, the presence of infinite consciousness, the mind energy of God. That was another Aramaic word. In the beginning, there was the milpa, and milpa translates not as word, but as mind energy. So in the beginning, there was this mind energy. I recognize that mind energy as God, the infinite mind. And I know that I'm one with it. I know that I come from that mind energy. Like Einstein's a special theory of relativity, that mind energy took form. It slowed down enough to take form as you and as me. So we're one with it. We can't be separate from it. And then in this deep realization of oneness, I know that each of our lives is the life of God expressing in absolute perfection. No matter what the appearances are, no matter what the situations and circumstances are, they're all calling forth something greater in us. They're all calling forth, where can we stretch? Where can we grow? What's being called forth in me? So I know it's being called forth in you. So we just give way to this. I know that there's something within you already, the seed of consciousness, the Buddha consciousness, the Christ consciousness, the Kuan Yin consciousness, the consciousness that was in our parents, our consciousness that was there before we were born. That consciousness, it's in everything, everyone. It's calling forth something greater self-expression, more freedom, liberation, joy, creativity, excellence, harmony, balance, order, abundance, prosperity, vitality, health, joy, peace, love. It's all happening now. And I'm so grateful and so thankful that I can take this moment in gratitude to release this word into the law of life, into the mind energy that's all around us, and allow its truth to be known, and saying that it is already so in that mind energy, in that infinite realm of possibility and potential that's known as the mind energy of God. It's already so. And so we affirm it together. So we say, and so it is, and allow that mind energy to condense into experience right here and right now. So I say, it's already done. And so it is. Ashe, Aho, Ahotep, and Satnam. Peace and blessings.